Hey guys, welcome to this video. This video is going to be in regards to the items that we were going to do in class, but due to technology services not functioning properly, we're going to do three things today. The first three videos will be separate. The first thing that we'll talk about is the React Native. I'll show you how it works. It will actually be a unique video. I'll have to add a second video of it because the first video will be using your iPhone. The second is I have to use another iPhone in order to record what I do to show you how it works, so that it makes it very intuitive. So the first video will be, we'll get started to a certain point, and then when we get to the one point of pulling up the application, I'll stop the video, and then I'll start another video to show you how we capture it, if that makes sense. All right, so I'll get started. We'll just start from scratch as we did before. I am going to, a couple things I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new folder. So I'm going to go out here, documents, I'll just start from scratch. Let me find app development. I think I have React Native here, but I'm going to create, let's see if I have what I have under here first. All right, cool. I'll go here and I'll actually call it, what we're going to call it, mod 1. Perfect. And I want to make sure where I know where it's at. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up Atom. So that I will need Atom at some point, and I want to ensure that I have it in place. So I'm going to add project. Find that project that I just created, which is React Native. Let's find it here. It's not under Git. Let's find documents, app development, React Native, and it was mod 1, and hit open. Perfect. So that's the first thing. Second thing is you could do this on a PC or Mac, so this part don't matter. I want to find that, so if I'm using Mac, I'm going to use Terminal. If you're using Windows, you're potentially using Git Bash. So let me go to Terminal, see where I'm at. I'm going to CD into Documents. ls, I'm going to CD into application development. I think that's what it was. Okay, it wasn't. The heck was it? Application app development. CD into app development / React Native. There we go. CD into mod 1. Perfect. So we're here. We're where we want to be at. Excellent, excellent. All right, so next thing I want to do is I want to be in, first of all, you want to make sure you have Node.js installed. If you're unsure, just do, I think it's node-v. Yeah, node-v will tell you what version. If you have 0 version, that means it's not installed. So make sure that you have Node.js installed on your computer. If you don't know how to install Node.js, then it's just pretty simple. Just go to nodejs.org. and you'll just do recommended for all users, and you're golden at that point. All right, if you have questions, see me. So that's step 1. Step 2, create your folder or file somewhere. Step 3, open up Atom. All right, so we'll do this. It'll probably be quicker here. I'm going to do a sudo npm install g and then expo -cli for a command line interface, and hit return. It'll ask you for your password for your computer. All right, so install some packages. Now, this does take a couple minutes, but however, if you're doing it at school, it'll probably take you 3 hours. So I will wait for this to happen. Still progressing. I'm going to pause this and come back once it's completed. And it was already done. So this has been installed. As you'll see, some of this stuff was skipped. I hope that is fine. Let's see what they have skipped here. All right. ER access, make directory. Well, let's hope that that doesn't cause a problem, because that is not good. We'll find out if it doesn't work. Then we know what happened. All right. So we did that. Next thing we want to do is create a project. So what I'm going to do is clear my space and start fresh. I'm going to type in Expo space INIT for initialization. I'm going to give it a project name. I'll call it my first app. I'll call it my first React app. Pretty long. Hit enter. All right, so this has changed several times. So there's all these different options that you could do. I'm using the up and down keys on my keyboard. It allows me to go from these different things. So you could choose tabs, which is example screens. You could do minimal, which is bare bone workflow. But what we're going to do is we're going to choose blank. So you highlight blank. It's a minimal app, as clean as an empty canvas. So we're starting from scratch. We don't want to include anything because we want to put what we want to put in there. And I'm going to hit enter. It's going to extract some project files. It's going to do some stuff here. And once we get to that part we're going to get to like it looks like a JSON aspect of it. And we're going to rename something. It'll give us like a default name, and we'll rename it to something else. And we'll go from there. So let's let this install. Perfect. All right, excellent. So it has installed. As you notice here, the first thing I get is CD into my first React app, and then npm start. So let's do that first. CD my first, if I can spell, React app. And then what npm start is, let me do an ls real quick. You'll see that we have files here. And before we even start it up, let's go out to our, you see that we have files in our Atom. So we have a bunch of different files here. I'll go through it before I start it up. So what the start does is it uses Node.js and starts an environment up. And it allows us to run our code through that environment. So there's like a, think of it as an admin panel. And that admin panel will allow us to be exposed and be able to use that as a way to debug our app and to kind of get our app going. So anyways, we got these Expo shared files here that uses assets for JSON. So that's custom, or not custom, but already set up. It has get information, so you know what get is. So we have some get information already added to this. Assets, and you'll find this a common thing within iOS. It's just a way, location and assets and mobile development is just a way to keep our images or anything that we want, images, videos, etc. would store in that. Our icon files, what do we want our file to look like? So that's our assets. Our node modules, you know what node modules are at this point. They're your npm packages. These are things that came with it when we did the install. So anytime we install a package, they'll be stored under here. Get ignore. These are just get files that ignore. We could modify this if we need to. Our app.js, we'll come back to this in a minute because this is actually the meats and potatoes of our thing. Our app.json file. So this JSON file is just like a configuration file. I'm going to ask you guys in class if you're familiar with XML. So in previous other environments, XML would be just like this, but instead they came up with a better way utilizing stuff, and that's with the utilization of JSON, JSON. So this is just a configuration file here. Sometimes we will make some changes in here, depending on what our needs are. All right, so then we have this Babel configuration file. This right here is just something that comes with it, so we're not going to make any changes at the moment. We have our package lock JSON file, so this is just all our packages. At the same time, we shouldn't be making any changes at the moment with this. And package JSON, this is just all our packages that we have installed. So anytime that we install a new package, it'll be kept there. So think of it as a library for our packages. Okay. So since I've explained that, next step is let's start this bad boy up. npm start. And so what will happen is whatever your default is. So I'm going to make this separate here and take that out. There we go. So now you should get a window like this. It says localhost 1902. It has this information here. Another thing is I'm going to go back to the terminal and you'll get this scan code here as well. This is where we're going to end our video and start from scratch in a second here. So this QR code is a way to scan your app to get it on your phone. Okay, to get it on your phone. Now, if you look here, we have run on Android emulator. We'll talk about that later. Same thing with iOS simulator. We'll talk about that later. What's important is, in order even to get to that point, A, do you have Xcode installed? B, do you have an Android Studio installed? And we do have those, but what we don't have set up in Android, we haven't walked through and discussed how to set up the emulators. So we haven't got that far. The same thing, iOS should be different. It should be fine because it's already, iOS automatically integrates that within their Xcode, but Android, you have to manually set it up. So we'll talk about that at a later time. Not too concerned about that. But what I am concerned is this link right here. So in order to debug your application, we can debug it through here, no problem. We can use the emulator, but it is fun to use it on your phone. And I think that's key to be able to do something on your phone itself. So the first thing, if you're using a Android, this is where life is easy. You don't have to download any app. You just go to your photo on your phone, on the Android. I don't have my Android with me. And you just take a photograph of this item here, okay? So you just, for example, I'll pull up my photograph. So this is the photo right here. So if you're using an Android, you go to your photo and you just scan it, okay? If you're using a Mac or an iOS app, you have to go to your app store and you need to find an app called Expo, E-X-P-O. Now I already have this installed on my phone, but I'm going to show it to you. It's called the Expo Client, okay? I don't think it's available on the Mac store itself, but let's see if I can pull it up here. It's not, but let's see this real quick. If you give me a second, I'll pull an emulator up for Xcode, and we could probably get something up and running real quick. This is jump game. This is fine. We could just pull this up. Let's choose XR is fine. I just want to get the emulator up so we can see if we can find the app store in there. Here's the emulator. And all right, cool. So this is what we want to get up here. App. We're going to close this. I'm not worried about this app. Starting up. All right. So let's see here if there is an app store on here. I'm sure it is on here. Thought it was. Apple Store. Okay, App Store. So I'm going to go to Expo. Oh, what the heck? Nope, I don't want to go to Twitter. Okay, hold on a second. All right. Oh, that's so weird. So it wants to go here instead of going to the App Store. So weird. Cancel. All right, why is it not working? That's weird. I can't get to the App Store on here. Thought I could. Thought I was gonna be able to show you how to do that. Unfortunately, I thought in the past, so where I could use a touchscreen, it was on here, but it's not. All right, that's fine. No big deal. Let me close this and close Xcode for now. So we know what we need to do is just pull out your phone. If you download Expo, which I have, I will take a pic of it. You will get this that comes up here. It says Open Expo. When I say take a pic, I don't even have to take a pic. I just put the phone on. This is where I'm going to record this. So I just put the phone on like this and highlight it. So let me do this. There we go. So I put the phone on like this, and well, now that I'm recording it, it's not working. Probably because I already did it. So let's do this. 1 second. All right. My luck. So let's, because it already has it on here. So I'll highlight it. Record this. All right. So now that I just put the photo in front of it, you'll see that Expo comes up. So I open up Expo. And then I have this right here, which is just a blank screen, which is fine. So right now it's just a blank screen. What it's doing is it's building the JavaScript library, as you can see. You could also see it on the screen here as well. It's building this information out. So set it finished to build. If you see right here on my app, it says open up app.js and start coding it. So right now, it's just that. It's just reading that. So you should have that on your phone as well. So with that in mind, we won't stop the video. We'll just go on. I think you guys are smart enough to figure it out. We'll go over to Atom and we'll go to app.js. You see right here where it says open up your thing, app.js. Let's change this right here. Let's just change this file to something else. And we'll change it to field trip next week. That's it. So then I'm going to hit save. I'll come over here. It should rebuild it. And it already built it pretty quickly. And if you can see my screen right here, it shows it up here. It says field trip next week. So it's already on this screen. So how this works is this right here, this screen right here is it builds it. It allows you to build the environment. It uses Node.js. App.js there are other JavaScript libraries that we'll add, but for starters, this is our first location within React Native. So anytime that we make a change in here, it will reflect on your phone. Now, what you can do is you could pull up the Expo app on your phone, and if you have other projects, you could pull up other projects as well. So I'm going to change this again and do something with this. So I'll say home away. Yeah, like home away app. Family house app by PPU students. I'll put by PPU. So I save that. Gets rebuilt, and it happened instantaneously. So this is a great way to debug your application. Now, here's the thing. This is only a link between your computer and your app when you're debugging it. So let's say that you do have this app up and running and it's going awesome. The thing is, if you take it and try to open it later on, it won't work. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you a little bit under the hood. We're going to, what we want to do is we want this to blow up on purpose. Okay? We want something bad to happen so that we could at least, trying to think here, at least we could come up with a way that it'll blow up on purpose. So that way if it blows up, you can see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So let's do this. So, and I'll explain some of this in a minute here, but I just want to show you. So if I do button title equals, let's just do this, equals school, college. We'll just do that. Perfect. I'm going to save it. I'm hoping it blows up. And it should blow up. Now, it should blow up on this screen, but it definitely blows up on your phone. So it looks really crazy. So when you get this message, it's pretty straightforward. If you look at the top, it says reference error, can't find variable button. Hopefully you can see that right there. Can't find a button. So, and it gives you a bunch of information at the bottom here as well. Sometimes it does come up on here, but I guess it's not showing up on here for some reason. But nonetheless, here's the thing. When we pull this out real quick. So we told it to do something, but within React Native, kind of give you a little information here. Start from the bottom up. This right here uses styles. This is as close as that you're going to get to cascading style sheets. Now remember, within React Native, they do not use CSS. They do use styles, just like this, which looks just like CSS, but it's not considered CSS. It's a way to program within JavaScript. So if you remember, I told you how React Native is broken down in 3 different parts. One part is a communicator to, you know, the Xcode people and the Android people, and the other part is able to absorb the information, be able to render the data from the different platforms. And then you have this other part that focuses on the styling of it, how it looks, the prettiness of it, I like to say. So it's not called CSS. Then you have this right here, you'll have different functions. So this function right here is just the beginning of the app. We'll later on in other videos or within class, we'll change this around to be specific. Okay, so import, trying to think, it's similar to JavaScript, but if you use another programming language such as Java or ASP.NET, import is a very common feature. So import is when you want to import a library of some sort. So it is kind of like JavaScript. So in this case right here, we need to show that we want to use the button. So if I do a comma button right here and save it, that should fix our problem, hypothetically speaking. And it did. So if you've seen here, automatically it just it knew that I'm using a button. So anytime that you use a specific object, you have to specify it up here that, hey, I'm going to use a style sheet. Boom, right here. I'm going to use text right here. I'm going to use a view right here. I'm going to use a button. I'm going to use a drop-down list. I'm going to use this. I'm going to use that. That's all going to go up here. And you're going to style some information here. Now this will change as we get further along with it. But for the most part, that right there is React Native under the hood. That's all I'm looking for you guys in your homework assignment this week, is just to do what I just did. We created a button that says college. You could change it to maybe something better. So I'm gonna keep this going here so you guys can see. I'll change it to submit. And I will save it. And oh, I guess I have to save it. And then it changes, just like that. So, I don't like shouting it though. And then it changes. So these are things that you could do. It's pretty simple. This right here, as I mentioned, I would stay on the LAN. Once you have your phone linked up, I'm curious to see how it works on Android. I haven't tried it yet there. Like I said, once you have Android set up, iOS, I haven't, let's see if this works, because the last time I tried it from here, it didn't work. But I think I have Xcode. You have to have it open, so let's open it. So well, let's just see, because they changed this around a little bit. All right, so not install, please visit. So I